You're listening to The Bon Ree Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to The Bon Ree Show on Irish News Radio or ITV.ie. You're listening to The Bon Ree Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. Today is Saturday, and we'll be talking about Europe and the EU mess of destroying Europe. We talk about our traitorous government and horrible, horrible Irish government and the mess. There's 2 women in Sligo that were left in their 90s, left on trolleys in Sligo Hospital. Absolute disgrace. No shock on this horrible, horrible government who has no time for the Indigenous Irish unless they're killing their own babies up to 6 months for any reason. Other than that, this government has no time and wants them out. The European governments are getting worried about the monster that they created in their own making, Islam, by bringing it in mass number. So you have 40% in 2015 of Germans being foreigners in their own land. By 2018 that increases to 60% feeling foreigners. I would have actually thought it was higher actually with their numbers. So the bigger picture is here that Islam is beginning, the European leaders are beginning to see the problems, but of course some of them, like the Moron in France, thinks he can transform it. So Muslim Brotherhood of our countries is and the transformation of European countries is a huge problem, with an Islamic majority infiltrating our laws and government at a local and above levels. German intelligence has a bigger effect long-term threats than ISIS or Al-Qaeda. So these Muslims being infiltrated into our local elections, all local elections in Europe and in law, is a bigger long-term threat. Well, anybody with half a brain would have seen that, except for the fools that run us. The Moron in France has decided he could actually some way transform Islam. And of course, for some reason, that's dope. He wants to have a French Islam, to pick and choose what he finds acceptable from the Islamic text. Oh my God. The man is incredible. He's such an idiot. He's unbelievable. Him, Leo, and the other Canadian fool, I don't know. They're like fucking clowns. They're hilarious. This is ridiculous. So anyway, he wants this Islamic French Islam, which would be quite different from all the other Islamic. So they were to meet up on Monday. They met up on Monday with the Islamic leaders. So he thinks that the French thinks that he could reform Islam, so it would be a French Islam. Now, if you really think that anybody could have done that, do you not think over thousands and thousands of years it would have been done? This moron in France thinks that he can do it. Of course, this doesn't go down well with the Islamic leaders. No shock. So it's unbelievable. So what the Islamic leaders say, that also he says that he wants to stop the foreign investment into building mosques in France. Now, in fairness, that was probably the only thing that actually makes sense out of that dope. Such a fool. And he also wants French training, so that they would have to have French training and that the money wouldn't come from Arabic sources, which of course is not going to. They're not going to agree. So obviously, surprise, surprise, didn't go very well. Can you imagine? So the Arabic leaders want a true recognition from Islam and a religion in France on equal footing with other religions, and granted Islamic religion right to perceive Islamic rights. They want cemeteries, Islamic food rights. They want ritual slaughters of animals and the recognition of special rights. And they also want holidays for their celebration and holiday, Islamic holidays. Now, is this including like when they chop off females' clitoris? They're going to celebrate that as well. Like, you can't have, they just don't work. Like, so anyway, they go on about what rights they want. So they want a celebration of Islamic holidays. They want a program to teach Islamic religion and Arabic language in the major universities and the high schools. Oh my God, it's just incredible. So, and if their demands are not met, they will go out and riot. And they're saying that it'll be a green vest movement, but you know, it'll be totally violent with bloody Muslims. They'll be blowing up things in France. So France, the monster that they created, and the idiot goes in and thinks, you know what, we could have a nice Islam if we could just take out majority of your texts and we maybe put in a few ones that we quite like. And obviously Islam cannot be reformed. It's such an idiot in France. He just can't get any more stupider. I really do think the man is incredible. Like, it's obviously rich he was put there. Who the hell will put this idiot in? Going into an Islamic. And of course now, once this goes through and they don't, and because he's so hell-bent on having this global fucking world with Muslims in it, France will be Islamic within 18 months, I'd say. Because he'll have to do something with this new Islamic French. They'll give him that French Islamic name, but that's all he'll get. He'll get the name Islamic French. They won't take out any text. They may stop the foreign funding, but what's the difference? If they're teaching Arabic, Islam in Arabic, if they're segregating themselves away from the French and the Western ways of life, and if they're teaching their children and they're building up their communities, the only thing you have stopped the money coming in from Arab countries. You haven't stopped the growth or the radicalization of Islam, which is not, there's no such thing as radical Islam. Islam is Islam, as much as the leftist dumb gits don't get it. There's no two Islam. Islam is Islam. It's the same wherever you go. If you go to Sweden, if you go to Saudi Arabia, Islam is Islam, and the same teaching is the same. Whether you teach it in France, in French, but they want it taught in Arabic anyway, so that you don't really understand what they're saying, and their texts will be done in Arabic. So if anybody questions like hatred towards the Jews or Christians or infidels or chopping off parts, they'll be able to go, oh, you didn't really understand because you don't understand Arabic. So this sort of bullshit. So this is a complete takeover, and that fool won't see it coming. If he actually really thought he could go into a meeting with them thinking that he could have an actual separate Islam called French Islam, that would be completely different. He is incredibly stupid and naive to actually think that they would entertain that. They sit there smiling, knowing that they will now demand further. So, okay, the money doesn't come from Saudi, but secretly they'll be getting money from Saudi anyway. And they're having all their teaching done in Arabic. They're teaching their kids the Quran as it is. There's no two Qurans. To hate Jewish and to hate Christians and to force Islam, whether they like it or not, on the people of the country. And that is what's going to happen because of the fool moron. Anyway, thank you for listening on the Bonnery Show. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.